Broadcasting live from Iona University, this is WIUR Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Ball Knowers. I'm Robbie Basil alongside Cam. Luke is just setting up everything in the background, so he'll be out here in a few seconds because we have a lot to talk about today. It's been pure and utter chaos in the sports world the last couple of days. You have the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. We'll talk about that. We have some chaotic NHL trade news that we have with JT Miller going to the Rangers officially.
And then Mika Rantanen, I think, too.
And then Rantanen as well. Did the Rantanen thing happen or no?
Did that happen before or after?
I don't even know. We'll discuss that later.
It happened. I think it happened before.
Was it before? I don't even know. But what we do know that has happened recently is that the Mets actually did something right. That's right, chat.
I need to turn that on.
That's right, chat. The New York Mets did something competent. They have re-signed Pete Alonso. That's what the jersey is for with Luke today.
Yeah.
2-year deal with an opt-out after the first year. It is I was not thinking this was going to happen at one point with the way everyone was talking about it. But then at the end of the day, it is the Mets.
It's always the Mets.
The Polar Express is back in town. Next stop, Willets Point. So we'll see Pete Alonso at least for another year with the New York Mets on essentially a 1+1 type of contract. Luke, it came at a very weird time last night because everyone was focusing on the NBA trade news last night.
Mm-hmm.
And then late into the night,
Jeff Passan,
as the snow began to fall wherever you were around New Rochelle, New York City, the Polar Express came chugging through and they're like, yep, he's back. Luke, your initial reactions to this?
I feel like we're 173 games away from winning a World Series.
Oh my God, this again.
I can't blame you for feeling that way. The Mets fans and that organization and Steve Cohen, they have completely turned that around. I think they have, first of all, they completely emasculated the Yankees by taking away who, in my opinion, was their best hitter last year, if you consider the postseason, because Judge is a non-factor in the postseason. We've established this. And Juan Soto, the guy who basically got them to the World Series with the handy assist going to Giancarlo Stanton. But you have Juan Soto, who is going to be over the long term the best hitter in the sport. You keep Pete Alonso. You basically run back the same team that came closer to beating the Dodgers than the team that they actually ended up playing in the World Series. So I definitely consider the Mets as a player in the National League.
Yes.
I think they are at least one of the top 3 favorites. Again, the pitching staff is a little bumpy. I think relying a bit much on Clay Holmes being a functional starter, but I think that can work.
I mean, we still have Senga and Manaea still.
Yes, I know you still have Senga and Manaea. I think there's still a bit of a lack of that true front line, like ace.
Let's see what they do.
Let's say teams like the Dodgers have teams like, now the Diamondbacks with Corbin Burns. I think that is honestly the only problem with the Mets. I think their bullpen is okay enough. You have a solid back end there with Edwin Diaz. And you have decent starters. It's just like the only concern I have is whether you can win the World Series with that. But again, you can make these moves at the trade deadline. But again, it's better to make these moves in December and January than it is to make them in July. So that's the only real concern I have with the Mets. I have no doubt that they have the right leadership in place. And I think definitely now at this point, beyond the shadow of any doubt, anybody who thinks otherwise is a delusional idiot. The Mets are now the big brother in town in baseball.
That's quite.
It's an interesting claim there, but I want you to talk us through something else here, Luke. So now you have all of the pieces coming together. You have Alonso and Soto as a double pivot at the top end of the lineup. What do you think? Do you think there's another move coming for the Mets? Do you think they can make one more move? We know they're linked to Dylan Cease.
That's what I was going to say.
That's like the big piece right now. Do you think they're able to get the move done for Dylan Cease?
Maybe they got to get I think they do need another starting pitcher, whether that's Dylan Cease or Michael King or Luis Castillo, whatever that is, whoever, or it's someone we don't know who it is yet. But I think they're going to make a move for a starting pitcher.
I mean, one piece that I think could still be thrown around. I mean, the Marlins still have some solid starting. Well, I thought had some solid starting pitchers. They actually don't, because when in doubt, trade with the Marlins. So
Alcantara
is the only one I'm thinking of, but they probably won't move him. The only thing I'm worried about with the Mets right now is that now that they're starting to rise to this expectation of, well, they're going to be a player in the National League. I still don't firmly believe that yet, because if you look at one league to another, the American League, there's about, I'd say, 4 players total in the American
League? There's
League?
only like
3 or 4.
I think
five, maybe.
You can argue that there are only like 3 major players in the American
3
League
true ones, yeah,
who would be non-factors in the National League. The Yankees, I still think, even with the loss of Soto, which was major. They
responded well. They responded well.
We're going to see that. They responded really well. I love the moves that they made. Granted, some of those guys might be able to qualify for Social Security, but it's a lot of Band-Aid moves. I think Max Fried is a really good signing. I think
my only concern with Max Fried is that he's like the one guy that the Braves did not give like a lifetime extension to.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe the Braves, who I'm still worried about. Yeah, I'm still worried about the Atlanta Braves.
And the Braves, yeah, dude. Big history of postseason success. The Braves, whatever. Yeah. Although they won a World Series in time. I keep forgetting that they won a World Series, but like
they did,
it's more than this group of Yankees has won. But the Yankees, I like the moves that they made in terms of a pivot. I still think with Alex Bregman just lingering out there, I would like them to make a real move for him. I think they're just waiting to find some taker for Marcus Stroman, because he has a terrible contract, and
nice work trying to get that deal done. And there's with the Marcus Stroman stuff.
But I think they should be more willing to go out and sign an Alex Bregman, because there's clearly no market for him.
I wonder.
I wouldn't say. Oh wait, for who? Marcus Stroman?
No, for Alex Bregman.
Well, there is one.
Clearly,
there is one now. We do have some rumors of teams that are highly interested.
The Tigers still.
The Cubs, Tigers, Boston Red Sox are apparently now in this.
The Red Sox are always in on everybody. I'll believe it when I see it.
They're like the Blue Jays.
They're happy to be a part of the process.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
The favorite right now is he re-signs with the Astros on a 1-year deal.
I mean, they traded Presley, didn't they?
Yeah, they traded Ryan Presley.
Toronto, who have a need at third now. Slightly need at third base. You have the Cubs, who play 0 defense, and having Alex Bregman as another Astro join their team, I think could work. I really think he re-signs with Houston now. I thought it was going to be the Tigers, and I thought the Tigers were going to go all in, but the fact that they've bottled this so badly, partially due to Scott Boras and partly due to themselves.
I was going to say who's dating.
It's a very weird situation to be in, especially with how bad this Central is. The American League Central is the NFC South of baseball.
The AL Central is garbage.
The AL Central is awful.
The White Sox play there.
You could throw in the White Sox.
I can tell you about how bad the AL Central is.
Well, you had to play through them to go through in the playoffs.
They will say all teams, 4 of those teams had 80 wins that year. And then completely irrelevant. You forget the White Sox had 120 something losses.
Yeah,
I wonder how they got all those. Wins.
I would love to. If the Yankees were in the AL Central,
you win 115 games.
They'd be a lock for 100.
You win 117 games.
Oh, dude! Like we get how many games against the White Sox? The
Twins. The White Sox mediocre. And the Twins. Somehow mediocre Minnesota. They make no sense either.
They've always been. What have they not been mediocre?
They've been mid. They're the personification of it. The Bomba squad was pretty nice before they got swept.
Saying.
But the Bomba squad was nice before they got
at least they were fun
by the Yankees. But I mean, the AL Central is the only division that I can rely on my team to beat in the playoffs. It's not a coincidence that the one time that this Yankee group has broken through the American League was when they had the good fortune of lining up against the AL Central in both rounds. In rounds at the ALDS where they looked terrible, but still won the series, and the ALCS where, I mean, they did. That was a fun series, but
yeah. So the Guardians had 92 wins. The Royals had 86 wins. The Tigers had 86 wins. And
The
Twins
Royals had
82.
86 wins.
Yeah, they made the postseason.
What?
No,
yeah, that
I
was
thought they
that
had
the
like
Yankees
90.
beat them.
I thought they had like 90.
that's when he made the bet with me.
No, I know, but I thought the Royals they made the playoffs with like 89, 90 wins. 86.
Yeah.
What in the tomfoolery is this?
And the Twins had 82 wins. And then you see the White Sox with 41 wins.
I want to bring up this point real quick because I want to go back to my point with the National League. With all the moves the Mets have made, I still don't think it's a lock they are number one in the division at all. They're the favorite, that's for certain. But at the end of the day, you still have multiple players in the National League East alone.
Yeah, I mean, you still have
the Philadelphia Phillies and the Atlanta Braves, who are going to be healthy at the start of the season for the most part. And they are still going to be missing one. Isn't Strider out for a bit? And they don't have Ronald Acuna for start. And they have Ronald Acuna who's on the show. That team is still really good. Yeah. And they're a team I'm surprised that are not in the mix of making moves or starting pitching because it's kind of meh.
I mean, they have the Cy Young Award winner.
They do have the Cy Young Award winner still, but Chris Sale isn't going to have a season like he had last year again.
Chris Sale
and
Spencer Strider are going to be on the same
rotation. I don't believe that Chris Sale will have the same year like he had last year, but even remove the National League East, they're playing in a National League where 4 teams in the West will be in a playoff conversation. 4. That's more than the entire American League has in general.
Yeah, that is.
And so you're telling me the National League West is better than the entire American League in terms of actual contenders to make a somewhat decent playoff run.
You can make
that's
an argument.
Special. You can make an argument for everyone but the Rockies.
Everyone in NL West had
I think the Yankees are at the very least better than the Diamondbacks and Giants.
Are they?
I mean, I would say so.
I mean, matching up I would say the Yankees on paper.
Well, now they have Corbin Burns.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, I know the Diamondbacks
Corbin Burns now matches up against Garrett Cole. But
again, after that, you have to.
We don't even know how the Yankees rotation looks.
We're forgetting. No, we do. Are you kidding? That rotation's really good.
It's good.
You have Garrett Cole.
I know what they have.
Frontline ace. Max Fried, also frontline ace.
Can't stay healthy. We'll keep
Louis Hill.
He had one
Rookie of the year. Rookie of the year.
You guys want to trade him?
Don't. Yeah.
I mean, like only for Kyle Tucker. Only for, and we didn't even want to do that. You have Louis Hill, who just won Rookie of the Year, who I have my concerns with.
Good.
But you have Clark Schmidt, who's also pretty good. I also
have my concerns with because he had a terrible middle of the season, but it was great in the back end.
And then Carlos Rodon, who turned in a couple of good starts in the playoffs.
$32 million for him.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, I saw that Game 1 ALCS
32
start.
I saw that.
He had one good start in 2 months? Like, is that like what it was?
Dude, Carlos Rodon was fine this year.
He was fine, but that's not a guy you pay $32 million a year for.
No wonder you don't.
That's my point.
No wonder.
I mean, you would take that over what happened last year, though.
Yeah, I'd take that over what happened last year any day.
And but also, I mean, the Diamondbacks have Fort Burns and like Gallen as their front 2 starters.
But yeah, I know Burns and Gallen are really, really good. But then look at the lineup. Look at the lineups.
Corbin Carroll.
I mean, you have Corbin Carroll.
I don't have my late class. So I can go to work. Let's go. W's in the chat. There's no one here, so that's fine. The one, but you look at the National League West. You have multiple players in it. The Giants, who signed Willie Adames, who I think I love that signing. For Giants team that week's. Remember when the Giants were linked to like everyone and they signed nobody?
They're always linked to everybody. The Giants are one of those teams who's always linked.
They have trucks of money that no one wanted to take from them.
It's like when you send your have your bank account in another country, like have it just like secured, but they never you never take money out of it and spend it on anything. That is where the Giants are right now.
They were kind of what the Blue Jays are now, but the Blue Jays are like surpassed them.
Very true.
The Blue Jays at least signed Anthony Santander.
They did sign,
but the Giants signed.
Willie Adames, who I think is going to be one of the more impactful signings for a team from this offseason. You have the Padres, who no one knows what they're doing, and they're the I'll make a soccer reference. They're the Leeds United of this league, where they spend all of the money and have all this hope, and then they've run out of money and have to trade people. So that is the Padres. And then you have the Death Star.
Yeah.
Need I say more? And the Central, the Cubs, I guess. Who is in the
The
Central?
Brewers.
Are they even going to be good, though? Because they lost Adames. And, like, they lost Corbin. And Corbin Burns wasn't even on their team last year.
Do you like any of the other options here?
Have the Reds done anything?
They got Gavin Lux.
So the Reds are not winning that division. I want the Cardinals to do something because, like, they have an opportunity to do, like, imagine they went out and got Bregman. I mentioned it last week. I'm like,
Alex Bregman would be a terrible fit there, though.
I know, but like, because they'll trade Nolan to the Red Sox. I mean, they lost Dylan Carlson. The Cardinals are a mess too. That entire National League Central is a mess.
Good.
So if you put the mathematical equations together, you've 3 + 4, which is greater than 3, because so the National League is already better than the American League, even though I didn't think that was a dispute to begin with. So the question is simple. Where do we actually think Bregman's going to go? Because with how good Bregman is, and how that could change so many teams. Well, where do we think he goes? What's the prediction now? Because we said it we gave our predictions last week, and nothing's happened.
I think he goes back to the Astros.
Now I think I kind of I mean, I'm still riding out my Cardinals predictions, like the wild card, but like I do think with the way it's going, with the Nolan Arenado situation, the Red Sox are going to be the one to get him, because we know the Red Sox wanted Arenado for like forever.
Mm-hmm.
They failed. So why not go out and get another 1-year deal? And this is the year the Red Sox go all in. Remember, they traded for probably 1 year of what's his name from the White Sox? I'm drawing a blank.
Garrett Crochet.
They traded for Garrett Crochet.
I really wanted Crochet.
We weren't going to resign. Dude, he only throws a fastball.
And it's a
one. Really good
I know it's a good one.
Need I bring up his baseball?
No, we're not going up his baseball survival. I know it's good, but like when you're pitching on a team like that, you need to have more than one pitch.
When he has his baseball survival page that he does on the White Sox.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And the Red Sox made a multitude of rock solid moves. The issue is they signed Walker Buehler, granted, to a 1-year contract. They are the team of 1-year contracts. They are the one-hit wonder of the American League right now, is the Boston Red Sox. And you look at all of the good numbers with Garrett Crochet. Move that laptop forward so I can read it, damn it.
All that red is
Crimson.
99 fastball run value. Fair enough. His breaking ball run value is atrocious, but the barrel number is low. That's good. That's pretty solid.
That's really good. You see a lot of crimson in that.
97.1. I thought that was a little bit. I was gonna be a little bit higher than that. 90. Okay, so
percentiles.
That's percentile. Oh, I didn't read anything. 90. It's a pretty good sinker too.
Yeah,
I think that's a number that we could look at. But the Red Sox, the one-hit wonder, they are a team that I think should be talked about more.
I think
if there's a team in the American League that deserves to be talked about more,
they still have Lucas Giolito, right?
They have Giolito who's coming back from that bad injury. They have Walker Buehler, Crochet, Brayan Bello, who I think is eternally underrated and could have a breakout season in the middle of the rotation.
How
with the
long
pressure
have we
coming
been-
off?
The question
He was
is,
an ace last year. He's not an ace yet.
how long have we been talking about Brayan Bello?
Like a year and a
breaking out?
half?
No, but we're going on 2 years of this.
No. Isn't he like young though?
But hey, I'll believe him when I see it.
Brayan Bello was thrown into an ace type of role when he's not an ace type of starter yet. When you can have a guy who's I think is still very underrated.
4.49 ERA last year.
Yeah, I know he was bad, but he was in an ace role last year, getting barreled up by everybody.
I could ground ball percentage.
I know. That's like that's why I like him.
Also, when you're a pitcher and you do Fenway Park it's not very forgiving.
That's
for
very
pitchers.
true. So when you pair
any pitch that's like remotely hit in the air to left field is gonna go off the monster.
And don't forget, they had Tanner Houck too. So that rotation, Crochet, Buehler, Houck as a front three with Bello as a 4, that's pretty good.
I mean, yeah, their pitching's definitely improved.
The pitching's improved. They have 1 year to do something. I'm surprised that they aren't linked to Bregman more. It's like really annoying because
they have Devers.
they have Rafael Devers.
Yeah, moving for the first base policy.
Exactly.
That's why.
I'm making this point.
I don't know where the whole talk about Rafael Devers being a bad defensive third baseman comes from, because every time he plays the Yankees, he turns into
numbers.
I mean, who's the?
Which one?
No, I'm saying like Rafael Devers against 28 other teams, terrible third baseman. But every time when he plays the Yankees, he makes at least once a game, makes a platinum glove play at third base.
Fielding out above average percentile of 8.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't see that against the Yankees.
Hey, can we see Juan Soto's? I actually want to know this.
I mean, well, everybody knows Juan Soto's kind of a defender.
I just
but
want to
it
know
doesn't matter.
His arm strength, though.
His arm strength is great.
14.
I was above average, but not 90 percentile in arm value.
Well, there you go. See, we signed him for the arm. He's like the I was about to say he's the Anthony Richardson of this group, but
he also has an expected batting average of 100 percentile.
Yeah,
there you go. There you go.
Dude,
Barrels for
Alonso's
days.
like one of the best hitters in the sport. So you take that with the meh defense.
Let me finish.
He has a walk percentage in the 100 percentile.
Yeah, of course.
Eternal batter eyes. So I'll finish my point with this. The Red Sox, I think, have to be in that conversation more not only for Bregman, but to be a possible playoff team. They need another bat. And I think getting Bregman is perfect. The issue with getting a guy like Bregman is, what do you do with Tristan Casas? What do you do with him? Do you move him to DH? Do you trade him? I think that's also a possibility. They have options. I love their options. But getting an elite hitter like Alex Bregman to like a 1 or 2 year deal, I think it'd be very beneficial for a team like the Boston Red Sox. And they would be the sleeper to make the playoffs. And possibly, I believe, if they get another reliever somehow before the season starts, be a team that could possibly make a good playoff run. Because they have I think most of the rotation to do it. They would have the bats to do it. You have 2 elite hitters in Devers and Bregman, with a young center fielder in Jared Duran, who I am in love with. You have Casas, who can hit as well. A possible rebound from Trevor Story. Who would even play short for them? Who am I forgetting about?
I'm the wrong person to be asking about the Red Sox. All I know is that they, you know who they could also use? Chris Sale.
But he was injured a lot.
Man, not last year though.
Not obviously not last year, but it's like, remember when all those teams were saying, yes, I need Cole Hamels on my team. And then he got hurt a lot. That's like what I thought was going to happen with Chris Sale, but that apparently didn't.
He won the Cy Young, actually.
I know. He like,
yeah. Stay healthy.
I know. When he's healthy.
Thanks for trading him for nothing.
That's what happens.
They traded him for Vaughn Grissom.
Vaughn Grissom, you know. People have Vaughn Grissom's numbers.
Braves got a Cy Young Award winner for free.
Oh my God. That's brilliant. Oh my days. But baseball is chaos. But we know what else is going to be very chaotic on Sunday night. Welcome to Super Bowl 59.
That's a snooze fest.
Welcome to Super Bowl 59, Ball Knowers edition. And no, we're not talking about the NFL draft in like 2 months. No, we're not talking about whatever we could be doing for that. We're talking about whatever's happening on Sunday, because we have Kermit the Frog.
Team Space Rock.
We have Kermit the Frog against the Hurdle Master with Saquon Barkley. So I'll be honest with y'all. I know I just destroyed. I did the nicknames for both of them. I know that's wrong. So we have Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, who no one likes. Not a lot of people like, unless you're a fan of Taylor Swift, versus the Rebellion led by. Let me read my notes. I know
the worst part about this for me is that the Eagles are the good guy here.
There is no good guy here.
No, but like if you're talking
about,
how
dare you say that?
No, I hate that. No, I hate it.
How dare you say
that? I hate that it's a hate. Am I wrong?
Yes, you are.
Am I wrong? No, the Eagles.
Maybe
the Eagles are. If you're not a Giants or Cowboys fan, you are rooting for the Eagles in this game. I'm sorry to say it, but like 10
do that many people really like Philadelphia?
No,
they hate Philadelphia. They hate it significantly less than the Chiefs, though.
That's very true. I mean, when you haven't
I mean,
actually.
when you sent me that
Yeah.
one reel about the Avatar.
Oh my god!
Avatar.
Did I send that to you?
You did.
I mean, yeah,
Oh, to me.
dude.
North, east, southwest. Long ago, all the divisions lived in harmony before the evil Kansas City Chiefs raided on the rest of the
Fire
AFC.
Nation were actually pretty good guys, actually.
Yeah,
The Fire Nation is actually pretty
There
cool.
is no war in Bossing Say.
I mean, so let's talk about the game as a whole, because we have Jalen Hurts, who has been, dare I say, meh in the playoffs. For the
He's
most
a
part.
passenger. He is definitely a passenger.
So he's the passenger princess. Lovely. With the guy driving the ship being Saquon Barkley.
That offensive line.
Also in the back seat of this motorized vehicle, we have AJ Brown, who's been reading books in the back of your car.
His book club.
Joining him is the Men in Black stick guy, but shorter, with Devontae Smith, who looks like a twig.
Should have been a giant.
He might be banned. Who knows what happens with him? And they also have Dallas Goedert, who actually has been more irrelevant.
He's a pretty good tight
but he's
end.
been more irrelevant than AJ Brown. So take that with a grain of salt.
But
he's been like a little more.
Everyone's been irrelevant because of the running back.
Very true. So defensively, though, is for 95% of the game where they've shined. Defensively, they've looked great.
That defense is insane.
You forget, because how many pieces did Philadelphia add from that defense?
Zach Bond was signed to be a special teamer, and now he's an all-pro.
They
like
got the top
defensive
two
player.
corners.
Zach Bond,
they somehow got
Cooper DeJean.
They somehow got the top two corners in the draft.
They got Cooper DeJean, and they got
everybody knew that Cooper DeJean was going to be good, but for some reason, the NFL just loves to let really talented players go to the Eagles.
They like High Roseman gaslights everyone.
Who was the other guy they drafted? I forgot.
It was some.
Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah,
Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah,
who I have as my defensive rookie of the year, by the way. We'll find out if he gets it tomorrow.
They got the top two corners of the draft.
Two of the top corners in the draft. Terry and Arnold was in the middle of the two,
and then somewhere down there, like a little lower, you have Andrew Phillips. I'm just taking the tiny win that I can.
So you got to remember, I just got to bring this up.
Really
erase those three players we just mentioned and Andrew Phillips. Zach Wilson beat this team last year. Zach Wilson.
Okay, the Eagles last year.
Granted, he threw like multiple interceptions and looked terrible. I believe he threw. Was this the game he threw like multiple interceptions? We forced 5 turnovers and almost lost. Granted, we didn't have Sauce Gardner, half the defense, and we beat the Philadelphia Eagles.
That Eagles team,
I called it too.
The Giants beat them.
The Giants blew them. The Giants blew them out in Week 17 that year.
It's week
Or
17
week 18,
though. It's like week
18.
17 or 18. The game was irrelevant.
The Eagles still played their starters.
Yeah,
that's something to play for.
Yeah, they didn't try. Obviously,
they were. Dude, Jalen.
Do you mean
Hurts,
the starters like Nate? Did you play Nate Sudfeld? Like,
no, we played Jalen Hurts, and he looked terrible in that game.
They actually played Jalen Hurts. Maybe Doug Peterson was right.
Dude, Jalen Hurts, I can say whatever I want about Jalen Hurts. He's probably going to be a Super Bowl champion by the end of this. I'm definitely favoring the Eagles in this game. Because it's what I don't.
But you see, we have the Kansas City Chiefs have the almighty plot armor.
Yes, they have plot armor, and they have Patrick Mahomes. Yes.
That is very powerful.
And they are undeniably the one who the league wants to win.
Despite what they say. Which is interesting for you to say those type of comments.
No, I'm saying, but there's like real reason and substance to believe this. Taylor Swift, if you think about it, okay, tinfoil hat time. And this is a tinfoil hat that hundreds of millions of people are also wearing. Ever since Taylor Swift started very publicly, suspiciously publicly dating Travis Kelce, there has been a surge in Chiefs devil magic.
How many games have they lost?
I think.
No, I meant like since he started dating Taylor Swift. It was like 4 or something.
I remember the Chiefs were kind of struggling when.
Can we search that up, please? Because you got the
Like at the
you
moment
have the laptops.
They started dating. I remember they were like kind of struggling.
I know their first game, the first game that after it went public, it was against the Bears.
The Bears, and they blew them out by like 30.
The Bears. Headlined by Justin Fields, who I felt terrible for. R.I.P. Justin Fields, who
Possible
possible future New York Jet or New York Giant.
Giant, probably a Giant.
Who knows?
If he goes to any New York team, he's going. To
The only thing I'm
Giants.
worried about right now with the Jets or the Giants is that Garrett Wilson is not doing anything.
I mean, Garrett, I don't know what's happening there. I mean, the Giants are
Possible
gonna have
Denver
the
Broncos.
Giants. I'm saying it's going to be an entertaining offseason. We'll talk about that.
An entertaining
we'll go more,
offseason of irrelevancy, or like
I mean, we'll
entertaining
go
offseason
more,
for something else. When does free agent? Oh,
I mean, things are going to be happening with the Giants. I mean, they're going to get either a franchise quarterback
or a great
potentially, or
one of the top players,
or the best player in the draft.
So it starts March 12th. Oh, that's the day we do a video. Is it not?
March 12th, the
Oh,
free
it's the
agency.
day. It's the day. It's the day before we do a video. Dang it.
Okay, so we're gonna have a lot of moves to talk about.
The
week before we'll go more in depth with the offseason.
We got a
a
month.
little later.
We got a month.
Like I'll also like next week after the Super Bowl, when we're going into the no man's land
Oh my
of
God.
I think
Not
of
really.
sports.
based on when it was confirmed, is it like this? I think it's about this much.
Oh my God. They're 20-6
Since I think when they
Oh,
confirmed-
yeah.
when they
in the
confirmed-
regular. No, that's not right.
right.
I think it's a little bit more in the win category than that. The losses seems about right. Essentially, they've lost 6 games since
Since they confirmed it was public. I think.
Not a single playoff
6.
game.
6. Just for reference, Aaron Rodgers lost more games in 2.5 months than the Chiefs have since Travis Kelce started dating Taylor Swift. That's insane. That is insane. I think it's just a fact. How many? Now my question is, how many losses has Daniel Jones had since they started dating?
Well,
So
Daniel
I'm
Jones
still-
is probably injured.
I'm still looking up.
I think we have to look as high as the into the mountains to find that answer. I think
But
it's the way
he
that
has
it's
been
going.
injured, so maybe.
Yeah, Daniel Jones has been injured,
it's
or
gonna be more, though. It's
or
still
like got
more,
back. Oh
obviously.
yeah, significantly more.
I mean, I think the
He
Giants
at
have
least
had
has
more
6.
times. Oh my God, it's more than 6, but
Probably has like 10.
maybe
at
it's
least.
maybe it's 7. Thank you. I was gonna go like another joke, but I hit the button too early. I bottled that. Hopefully, like one of these teams won't be bottling the Super Bowl this week. So, question time. It is time to pick our winners of the Super Bowl. Who will win in the battle of the Death Stars?
Chiefs.
The Chiefs or the Eagles down in the Big Easy of New Orleans? Cam, you're first.
Philadelphia Eagles with Saquon Barkley as Super Bowl MVP. He is going to break some kind of record in this game. Some kind of Super Bowl record for running backs will be set by Saquon Barkley in this game.
Well,
Luke?
Well, I'm going to choose the option that would make me the least not as mad. The Chiefs. Because they have the almighty plot armor, as I've established. And the Eagles, I just don't want to think about the Eagles winning because it's much safer to think about the Chiefs winning because I'm used to that.
I feel like once we get past the initial shock of the Eagles winning, because like I'm thinking about how I handled the offseason after the Eagles won their first Super Bowl. Also, like, although that Eagles team and this Eagles team are different because that Eagles team had Nick Foles, and like I actually didn't mind seeing Nick Foles of all people win that Super Bowl, and that was a great game. Like I respected that. I'm kind of looking at this game because I'm huffing all the copium that I can. If the Eagles are going to beat anybody in the Super Bowl, at least let it just be the Chiefs. Like if they're going to beat anybody, I'm fine with them beating the Chiefs. Also, think about this, Luke.
I would be fine.
Also, think about this. Cowboys fans. Cowboys fans would be mad. Cowboys fans would be mad.
And
Just as mad, if not more mad than us.
And I wouldn't.
You're telling me I wouldn't be mad. I'd be. I've hit a point of acceptance with this. I've hit a point of acceptance, dude. It's like,
Listen,
regardless, the Giants are going to be dunked on for years. Although we're going to wait for the NBA segue for me to make
we
that
talking about that
analogy.
today? Are we talking about that today?
We've still got 20 more minutes.
Well, I didn't
on
know
this
y'all
show.
followed that, so we will talk about
I'm
that.
the ultimate hater. All right, so you're not
I
convincing
know.
me.
I am convinced. I mean, I don't like. I still want the Chiefs to win. Also, like, I've got other stuff happening that weekend that is gonna like distract me from it. But like also
I
there's
need
like
the Eagles to lose.
also there's the betting side of it. Like I'll have other things to distract me. Also, over under on how many times Kendrick does not like us.
That's the only reason to watch.
Oh my goodness. Okay, write that. None of y'all probably do this, but I just do it for the jokes. I'll say it on my video
What's
tomorrow.
the over under on the national anthem? I'm always curious about this.
Write in the comments what should be the betting line of how many times Kendrick Lamar will play Not Like Us during the Super Bowl. But it's time for my prediction. So before we go into my prediction, every year I like to go into some history of what could happen during the Super Bowl. 5 players in the history of the Super Bowl era have rushed for over 150 yards in a Super Bowl. Would anyone like to take a guess on who some of those players are? We had one in Super Bowl 22, 28, 42, I think.
42? No, not 42.
Not
Not 42. No, there was no big running back.
Wow, I can't count. 27, my bad.
I was college.
I don't read Roman numerals on the daily. 9 and 32.
It's 150 rushing yards.
Over 150 rushing yards.
Terrell Davis has to be one of them.
Terrell Davis, yep, he did with the Broncos.
Marcus Allen.
Yes, he was second all time. He did in Super Bowl 28 with 191.
Jeez.
Oh, Super Bowl 9. Who played in Super Bowl 9?
Who played in Super Bowl?
I mean, who?
By the
played
way,
in-
two
Was it the
players.
Viking?
Two
Was that one of the
of the
Vikings?
players.
Larry Zonka.
No.
Oh,
Two of the
that's a good
players,
guess.
by the way, are from Washington.
John Riggins.
Yes, that was the number 3 answer. 166 in Super Bowl 27.
Oh, John Riggins was on the Redskins that late?
Now,
Really?
we
I
need
thought he was
Super
from the
Bowl
70s.
22, who was the leader from Washington with 204. And we know our number 4 answer from Super Bowl 9. If I say the team, we'll give it away.
So who played in Super Bowl?
I'm thinking.
Think old school. Like who dominated and
Was-
kind of mad
know
now
the-
and doesn't
what are
like to get past the first round.
The
No.
Vikings.
No. What? No, the Vikings.
The Steelers? I don't know who the only player on that Steelers offense who I don't know was the running back.
It's someone you should know. It is a Steelers player.
Not Frank. No, it's not Frank.
It is. It's Franco Harris.
How did I miss Franco Harris?
100
How did I miss Franco Harris?
It's 158
Oh my
rushing
God.
yards.
How did
in
you- how did-
Super
How did I
Bowl
blank
9.
on Franco? Immaculate reception. How?
All right, we're missing one. The leader with 204 rushing yards in Super Bowl 22 for Washington.
Ooh.
It's a player I've never heard of before, so that does not help. But
I cannot think of.
all right, let me find.
So
his
I can
football
think of a
reference.
ton of Redskin running backs. I know John Riggins. I know
Alfred
Clinton
Morris.
Portis, Alfred Morris.
we
They
need,
had
like,
Adrian
a-
Peterson for that one year.
Do we need to run through his career real quick?
Yeah, sure. Just give me something.
Started his career for 2 years with Washington, including being the Super Bowl 22 champion. Played for San Diego for a year before getting cut. Went to Dallas in 1990. Then was not on a team until 1994 with a team I've never heard of before.
What's this?
There's a Canadian Football League team based out of Baltimore, Maryland in 1994.
There was a guy who rushed for 200 yards in the Super Bowl and then was in the CFL 10 years later.
Hey, want to know his career rushing numbers? 602 career NFL
Jeez,
rushing yards.
this is why I don't know this guy's name.
And he got 200 in one game.
Yep. Are you ready to learn
Sure.
our faithful person?
Sure.
He did it against the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, of course, as most teams did in the 80s.
He played for Texas Tech and was in the NFL for
Get to the point.
Number 36, Timmy Smith. I was getting to it,
Oh,
dude.
wait, what was his first name?
Timmy Smith.
Timmy Smith. Oh, that name kind of rings a
I
bell.
was gonna go to something else, but I forgot at the bottom what happened in the end. So that's why I didn't really have an NFL career. But Timmy Smith in
What a
Super
name.
Bowl You can read why he didn't have an NFL career. Yeah, that is the guy who I think could be surpassed by a guy who I think will be joining that top 5 list, Saquon Barkley. I think we'll have over 150 and will be Super Bowl MVP as well. Wait, has there ever been a Super Bowl MVP for a team that lost?
No.
Yeah. That's happened. I think. I think it was Super Bowl 5.
Super Bowl 5.
Super Bowl 5 between the Baltimore Colts
Yes.
and the Dallas Cowboys.
That's such a Baltimore Colts
I think
thing.
the Cowboys won that game, and the Super Bowl MVP was some linebacker on the Colts. No, look it up. Wait, hold up.
I would like for the Super Bowl MVP to be Saquon and they lose, because that would just be like some Connor McDavid type of deal.
And J.S. Jaguar and Reggie Lee.
Chuck Howley. Oh, no. Wait. The Colts won the Super Bowl. The Colts won that game, but Dallas Cowboys linebacker Chuck Howley was named MVP of the game.
Well, there you go. So we have two people.
He recorded 2 interceptions and 1 fumble recovery.
Gotta respect the heck out of that. Actually.
First defensive player to ever win Super Bowl MVP.
He was not the last, though, as we had one around a decade ago now. That's kind of crazy.
Malcolm Smith,
right. So
the Super Bowl MVP is almost exclusively a quarterback award.
Pretty much, but I think it will be different. And I think it'll go to Saquon Barkley.
Yeah,
I think the
Eagles fall in the Super Bowl. I think Barkley could still win it anyway.
That's just a hot take for the sake of a hot take, bro. Low key,
I know.
That is kind of
2 touchdowns over 150 yards. And
2 touchdowns over. That's a pretty safe bet. Although, again, Steve Spagnuolo could just have.
They've kind of stopped the run, but then again,
I trust Spags to
they
come
haven't
up with
played
a
a team with an offensive line, though. Also, didn't you allow a touchdown with 12 seconds in the AFC Championship, and then they bottled it?
No.
Oh no, that was the Bills and the
That was the Bills in the divisional.
Where have I been? Jeez. Know where I've been? I've been on the trade market. And I've been watching over all that's happened. So we're gonna go over, because I know you brought up the NBA trades. I wanted to talk about this, but then we'll go into JT Miller, because I know you wanted to rant about JT Miller. Don't forget.
My views kind of shifted a bit.
It's shifted a bit because
they've won like 2 games.
Well, no, it's for different. Partially, but different reasons. That was brought to. That was enlightened of.
So, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, welcome to trade deadline day of the NBA. The biggest trades all happened within the last 36 hours, and we begin with a. Where do we start?
I think the most shocking trade in sports
ever
in decades.
Since I would say Gretzky getting traded.
Yeah, since Gretzky getting traded to the Kings.
He like
coincidence. Gretzky was in his prime, dude.
Gretzky was in his prime.
Gretzky had like 10 really, really, really good years.
This is why I don't know the most about hockey, because I had to ask the question.
I think Gretzky got traded to the Kings like in the late 80s.
I don't watch hockey like that, lads.
I think Gretzky was still Gretzky.
He was 28 when he in his first season with the Kings. And he had
undisputed GOAT of hockey.
No, I know he's the GOAT. He is the GOAT, and he's the well-deserving GOAT. But he went. I forgot he went to 2 teams in the Pacific. So he went from Edmonton to the Kings. I thought this is
he had 918 points in 539 career games with the Kings.
That is kind of absurd.
And he kind of dragged them to the Stanley Cup final in '93.
That lost to like the juggernaut.
So last Canadian team to win the cup.
Let's keep
That's
it
right.
that way.
Yes,
I think
let's keep it that
it'll
way.
Stay that way for a bit.
Although there's like real tensions with Canada now. So
let's focus on the NBA, because. Do you want me to start with this? Because I got to bring up a point that I don't get to say tomorrow.
As a Giants fan, I feel a lot of reprieve because all of the attention that we got for letting Saquon walk and that being the like big bad move, which I don't even think like in a vacuum was that bad of a move, but the Dallas Mavericks trading Luka Doncic, genuinely inexcusable. I have never, ever in my life seen a trade in any sport be made that was less excusable than that.
Because it is so much overthinking on the Mavericks' part.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's just pettiness. Remember, one of their assistant GMs had like a record that Luka was going to break, and there's like a whole rumor about that.
They should have jobs then if that's the case.
But like they're talking about Luka being overweight.
Be
they had the lack of fitness. And let me just say this because I've waited to say this for a couple of days. The Luka trade, just for reference, the Mavericks got less back for Luka Doncic than the Sacramento Kings got for De'Aaron Fox. And De'Aaron Fox, if you watch basketball, is worse than Luka Doncic. So it doesn't make any sense. We know Anthony Davis. I think Anthony Davis kind of like if there's one trade where they didn't need a power forward in a trade like that, the Mavericks, they have two young forwards who have been great in Derek Lively, and I'm forgetting the other one. This is horrendous.
They were concerned about his conditioning and long-term health. They traded for Anthony Davis,
who's like kind of old and like not
He's injured a lot.
I mean, if you want to talk about that,
how do you trade the best scorer in the sport? The beginning, not just in the middle, the beginning of his prime. He's 25. He is 25.
It's the face of their franchise.
How do you trade that? Like, you can't justify this. And anyway, there are like maybe 2 people in the league that I would, or like 3 people in the league who I would justifiably trade Luka Doncic for. That being Nikola Jokic.
Okay.
SGA.
Okay.
And Victor Wembanyama.
I can kind of get behind
that.
I can kind of get behind that.
I mean, because you're talking about like longevity and
right, this is why I didn't want to pick Luka Wembanyama for that, because he's built like the Men in Black stick guy at the end of the day.
I mean, dude, he's a transcendent talent, dude. Like just off the upside alone, it's like if Luka Doncic was if the trade was made, I'd still like ridicule it, but I'd think, okay, you're getting this back.
Yeah.
So you can justify trading that for that.
But that wasn't what's crazy was for me is one, how unknown it was until the time that it happened. I think that's
shop him.
No, because I think the crazy part was everyone's just doing work. It's a regular what was it? A regular Saturday?
It was like 12 a.m. or something.
It was 12 a.m. Oh no, I was doing
on a Saturday night.
No, it was 12 a.m. I was about to do my broadcast prep because I did a broadcast for WIUR. Shout out, check out the Mixler. Shameless plug, obviously. And you get a text on your phone. He's like, my phone. I'm like, dude, check Twitter. Shams just posted. Someone wrote something about a trade. I'm like, a trade on a Saturday night? What is this? Like, are we sure we're in the right timeline? And I check, it's like, oh, Luka Doncic. I'm like, oh yeah, someone's joining Luka Doncic. I'm like, wait a minute, Luka Doncic got traded?
No way.
What?
Yeah.
No, like,
I woke up.
Everyone was saying it was fake. No, you have no idea how Twitter was. Like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And then everyone was in shambles. There was like a funeral for the Mavericks outside of the arena, which I thought was awesome.
If I was a Dallas Mavericks fan,
Dallas sports right now are a mess, other than the Stars. And even the Stars aren't in the greatest spot because they're behind the Winnipeg Jets.
And Mira Heiskanen like out for like
right.
He might be out for
he might be out for a cool minute. It's a very weird problem for the Mavericks because, well, one, they've looked terrible since their trades happened, which understandably.
I mean, the player also think about the locker room there. The players are probably like, the players probably gave up.
What's crazy?
I can't blame them. The coach didn't know about it.
Who is this?
The coach got completely blindsided.
The coach is like, who's their coach? Jason?
Like by his generation.
It's Jason Kidd.
Okay.
Think about it. If you're Jason Kidd, you're getting completely blindsided by your superstar player, your guy who is on the fast track for the Hall of Fame, getting traded just on a whim.
But then
you can't
justify this.
Like, if you're a coach, you're probably super confused. If you're a player, you probably don't want to play for this.
It's a weird spot. It's a very weird spot.
You just don't trade Luka Doncic.
Yeah, you know how you avoid this? Don't trade Luka Doncic.
Well, that wasn't the only trade.
I'm not even a basketball guy, and I'm looking at this. And I'm just like, I got worked up about it. I made a video for Sports Grid. I never make basketball videos.
It's absurd how all this has happened such a short amount of time because we have more trades to talk about. I'm just going to list a couple of the star players that were traded yesterday alone. Jimmy Butler to the Golden State Warriors.
Him and Draymond Green are going to get in the fight.
Oh yeah.
That's great.
For Andrew Wiggins, which I think is okay. D Schroed, who got traded again, and Kyle Anderson in a first round picks, which is almost as much as the Mavs got for Luka Doncic. Not really, but you get where I'm going with this. The Warriors are now paying, by the way, Jimmy Butler $60 million a year. Silence has hushed over the room
because we thought baseball contracts were.
Y'all haven't seen anything yet. D Schroed then got traded to the Jazz with Kyle Anderson. So Kyle Anderson had and D Schroed had 2 homes in a span of 12 minutes.
Probably only had to move once.
As they are going to the Jazz, and actually Kyle Anderson's going to the Raptors. So how fun. And then something happened with Kyle Anderson afterwards. It was a very weird bit. But another weird trade, Kyle Kuzma.
Oh yeah, he got traded.
Fashion Nova is going to the Bucks for the awful contract of Chris Middleton, which I feel horrible for Chris Middleton because he should not be banished to the gulag of Washington like that. I'm sorry, Chris Middleton. But that wasn't even the weirder part because 1 hour later, Brandon Ingram and his 1 year remaining on his contract are going to a team that's not even contending. The Raptors. So he gets to go to the Canadian border. How fun. And then to finish off the night, last night, we had a guy who wasn't even on, who's a rookie, Dalton Knecht, who's been all right for the Lakers, getting traded. Granted, Knecht's averaging only 9 points a game, but they don't play him a lot. They trade him for a center. So the meme of needing a center on the Lakers was gone. They traded for the 7-footer of Mark Williams for Cam Reddish, Dalton Knecht, and a first-round pick. And a pick swap, which is actually not that terrible. But there's still so many trades that could be made today. But I'm just thinking of a couple of the stars that have been traded. Is this one of the most star-studded trade deadlines we've seen in any sport in a bit?
No. Yes.
Luka Doncic was traded.
Yeah, Luka Doncic.
But erase even Luka Doncic.
Got traded.
You have multiple star-caliber players get moved in the span of 2 days. We've never seen that before. I think it's just something. I don't know.
It's called the trade deadline.
It's called the trade deadline, but you usually see guys who I'll bring up an NHL reference, middle 6, bottom 6 type players get traded for a haul.
You see depth pieces.
It's depth, and more depth. It's not
very
depth
rarely
pieces getting moved right.
Very rarely do you see moves like Mikko Rantanen and Marty Nate just swapping around, or a couple of years ago, just bringing up my team here. You rarely see moves like Timo Meier getting traded.
Good one. Timo Meier's a good
who hasn't been the missing piece.
Nice contract to him, by the way. Nice contract.
The cap's going up, and it's 8.8 million. There's going to be a lot, 6 million now.
Yeah.
So,
it's one of the weirdest trade deadlines I've seen. And there's still a couple hours left, by the way. So you can check out, I believe ESPN has something going on right now. So you can follow all of the chaos of the rest of the trades. Also, shameless plug by me. But with the couple minutes we have remaining, other than I wish we could talk about more NBA trades, we had an NHL trade go down around a week ago now. That's JT Miller officially going back to the New York Rangers from the Vancouver Canucks. And so far, Luke, he's been okay.
He's been pretty good.
Your rest of your team hasn't been. They beat the Bruins last night, which is a great win over the Boston Bruins.
Zibanejad and the hockey stat cards was the top player, and that's a welcome change.
That's a first.
It's just I was a little annoyed by it when it initially happened for reasons. They reacquired JT Miller, the guy who they traded at the beginning of their retool phase, only get him back. So it felt pointless in a way. The whole era of the Rangers felt pointless in a way. But then they started playing, and none of the issues were fixed. The defensive structure is still, let's imitate an easy pass hole and let everyone into the offensive zone and never leave. But now they're scoring, and now Mika Zibanejad's playing on the wing with Miller and Panarin, which I think has been working out pretty well.
I mean, yeah, for now it works pretty well because again, in hockey, all the time you see line combinations that work really well for like a week, and then you think you have one of the best lines of the league. Please believe me, as a Devils fan, I have gone through that plenty of times. I remember a few years ago thinking that a line of Dawson Mercer, Jesper Bratt, and Andreas Janssen was like a cheat code.
What a line that is!
But the thing about getting a player like JT Miller, he still has term on his contract. He's not a rental. This is pretty much a move for the future too. And we're now seeing Chris Drury like his own is now getting like his own vision of the team like out there now. And also, if what JT Miller's personality is about being very like fiery and like just pushing other players, I hope he makes those lazy, miserable veterans as miserable as I was watching them for like a month and a half in like November and December. I hope he makes them as miserable as I was. So in that respect, I kind of like it. And now it sucks giving up Philip Hedl and Victor Mancini, who I thought had futures with this team, but
the kid line.
But I can't sit here and say that JT Miller is not an upgrade in any way. He's a big upgrade.
It is an upgrade. I mean, I was one of the crazier trades. We had that trade a couple of weeks, around a week ago now, only, with Rantanen
and
to the Hurricane,
and then also getting Taylor Hall.
Getting Taylor Hall.
Yeah,
remember when Taylor Hall was like the most sought out free agent for like a couple of years
for a trade target?
It was or like a big trade target.
I remember the Devils.
And then he ruined his career by playing for the Sabres.
Not really.
I mean, he got traded. I remember
first. He didn't even get traded for a first round pick.
Traded. That trade tree is pretty interesting. Like the
What
Taylor Hall trade tree. We traded Taylor Hall to the Arizona Coyotes back in 2019, like December 2019.
Forever ago.
In exchange for a first-round pick, Nick Merkley, Nate Schnarr, and Kevin Ball.
Have any of them turned out to be anything?
Kevin Ball was packaged to get Jacob Markstrom.
Okay.
Who's been huge and injured right now.
Wasn't Dawson Mercer one of the assets?
Yeah, Dawson Mercer. We drafted Dawson Mercer. But like Dawson Mercer, he's frustrating.
Often
right
frustrating
now,
and still talented Dawson Mercer.
I'm not going to say that Dawson Mercer is like a bad player because he's probably going to score around 20 goals this year, but it's like I won't complain about, but like he's kind of become a bit of a lightning rod for this fan base.
I think the one last question we'll have real quick for Cam. Devils entering the trade deadline. Do you think they need to make another move? And
definitely, yes.
And if so, who do you think that player could possibly be?
They need to load up on guys for the middle six. The forward depth has been a massive issue. And I'll say this about Tom Fitzgerald, dude. I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting very frustrated because he's a pragmatist. He doesn't like to make rash moves. He doesn't like to, rock the boat too much. He doesn't like to be impulsive. But the thing is, like that,
you need to have some of that.
Like that pragmatist attitude worked when you were rebuilding and were in no rush to win games. I was fine with that. Tom Fitzgerald managed a rebuild about as well as you could for a GM who already had some young pieces there. Sure, the drafting now we're realizing is a little bit questionable, but I liked what he did with the rebuild, but now there have been clear needs on this team for over a month. The forward depth and the scoring depth has been dry, like really, really dry. When Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt or Nico Hischier, when he's on the ice, are not contributing, nobody else is. And like maybe you get a tiny bit of Timo Meier in there. But when the big four aren't producing, you get nothing. You get, maybe a little bit of Stefan Nason, but like you get the top six.
Isn't he injured now too?
Yes. Like you're listing out the top six, and when those guys inevitably get hurt, you have nothing. Eric Halla who just came back from injury, so I'll give him a little bit, hasn't been scoring even when he was healthy. Right. You have the bottom six with Justin Dowling, Curtis Lazar. Paul Cotter.
Paul Cotter.
I like Paul Cotter, the fourth line grinder. Like his scoring rate as a fourth line grinder, I'd be thrilled with it. But you don't want Paul Cotter as a genuine middle six.
You're going
scoring
past
option.
the buoy and like the body of voice.
Yeah.
You go past there.
Yeah.
You've gone
Yeah.
too far.
Yeah, you can't rely on Paul Cotter to be a depth scorer. You need to make at least a couple moves, and these needs have been glaringly apparent even when the team was winning. In that whole month after the Christmas break where they could not buy a win, where they couldn't score when it wasn't their stars, they have needed to make a move forever, and they haven't been doing it, and they're sitting on their hands. And they have assets. They have 3 second-round picks in this upcoming draft. Do you know how many NHL GMs would jump on the opportunity to get a second-round pick? Right. Do you know how much value they would give up?
You could get something.
I mean, you can trade 2 of those You trade 1 second-round pick for like a million. Like, I'm trying to think.
For that
you can get a lot. You got Todd. I'd take Todd Foley back on this team, but
wouldn't that be the third time?
No,
second time.
That would be the second time y'all have had Tyler Toffoli. Really?
Yeah.
He was really good.
he was
He was a great fit. I think he was on pace to score like 40 goals.
Yeah.
It's a 40
On the
goal
Devils.
score that you guys could have, and there's so many players you could target. But real quick, we are running out of time. Luke, Rangers, they made 1 trade for JT Miller. Do you think they make another one? And who do you think it could be for?
If they buy, I'm going to be really mad.
So you think they're sellers?
They should sell.
If they are sellers, then who do you think is the piece that they trade?
Riley Smith, Jamie VC, and Ryan. The sooner they get rid of Ryan Lindgren, the better, in my opinion.
When does that contract end?
Yeah, it was only a 1-year deal.
Oh, it was only a 1-year deal. Where have I been? Jesus.
But basically, anyone who was like an impending UFA gone, just gone. So I definitely think they should sell and get what assets get, because they bought it for JT Miller after 2 of like the most brutal losses for a bit, and then Chris Drury's like, oh yeah, it's time to buy.
Yes.
And then they lost to DeBrusque, and then they won the next 2 games. I just don't think the team has it. To be quite frank, they don't have it. And if they buy, they're going to be just short of the playoff spot.
Just short.
Just short.
Interesting.
The team does not move me, really.
Well, we'll see if they'll be just short, as the trade deadline is almost here for the NHL as well. But unfortunately, that is where our deadline for today's show will be, as this is the end of another edition of Ball Knowers. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the WIUR Gales YouTube channel, and also make sure to check out WIUR on Mixlr for another presentation of Saturday afternoon basketball with myself and one of the other commentators calling Iona and Marist, 1 p.m. Eastern on WIUR Mixlr. For Luke Dolan and Cam Woolley, I'm Robbie Basil saying so long. We'll see you guys next week.
Baseball season's almost here.
It is indeed.
You're listening to WIUR Sports Radio.